welcome. What's up, good people? This is MC Till with everybody's hip hop label. Welcome to the Boom Bap Chat number 72. You know the drill. If you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, please go on over to Everybody's Records, buy a record. They got vinyl, CDs, tapes. They have books. Speaking of books, our new book, the Boom Bap Review, Volume 3 is coming out soon. Here's Volume 1. Volume 2 right here, and Volume 3 the cover. We're going to be unleashing the cover here real soon. So check out for that. And you can actually pre-order it today at boombapreview.com. So check that out. And also, if you're looking for vinyl, you can't find it at Everybody's Records. You can hit up getondown.com. They got some really dope selection of vinyl and some tapes and CDs and stuff like that too. So check them out. Yo, super excited tonight in the room. Our guest is, man, it would take me a while to go through his whole bio.
For real.
So before I think about which parts to do, I do want to welcome the other co-hosts in the room. Iomas Marad is with us. What's up, Iomas?
What up, brother Till? What's going on?
Peace, man.
What's
Good
up,
things
Joe?
going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And
up,
Joe
brother?
November is here. Joe November, what's up with you, my man?
Oh, everything's lovely, man. Thank you very much.
No doubt. And you might see or not see Profound. Profound is usually with us. He is out on the field. He's been promoted to coach. He's coach pro now. So his son is out there doing his thing as the quarterback. So he's out there coaching. So that's good. We wish Profound well tonight. Tonight's guest, he does it all. He raps, he mixes, he masters, he produces, he does photography. He's an author, he's an educator, he's an advocate. He empowers young people. That's the thing that I like most about this man. His music has been in films, TV shows, video games, at your grandma's house. Everywhere you go, you will find this man's music because it's that dope. Everyone can enjoy this man's music. The thing that I love about this man, and Chuck D said it. Chuck D said, one of the great MCs of our time, referring to our guest tonight. I agree with Chuck D on that for sure. He really is. He puts out really incredible music and does so much incredible stuff in this world. We want to welcome a nice warm welcome to Substantial to the Boom Bap Chat. Woo!
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. That's a hell of an intro, man. Thank you.
Yeah. And our claps on the Boom Bap Chat are 100% real claps.
For real.
No studio effects. Yo, Substantial. One thing we like to do, man, we like to honor our guests, pay them, respect them, appreciate them, and we definitely appreciate you. So I'm gonna throw it over to Iomas to give you some flowers tonight before we jump in.
Yeah, man. I just want to say to my brother Substantial, man, thank you for being the voice that you've been for such a long time. From the first time we met talking on the phone, you kind of like took me under your wing. You've definitely been like a mentor, not like I taught you on a regular basis, but your actions have been like a mentor to me. So I appreciate you, man. Your standard, your spirit of excellence, your integrity, not only to hip hop, but to our people in the community and teaching our babies, man. Like I got a lot of respect and love for you, bro. So just want to give you your roses now where you can spell them. You know what I'm saying? Like you just a good brother. And you deserve all the goodness that's happening to you right now. You know what I'm saying? So God bless, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. We see you, bro. We see you.
Hey,
and
appreciate you,
that we see you, bro. For real.
Thank you so much, man. It means a lot, man. You know, I got a lot of respect for what you do as well, too, man. So I appreciate you, bro.
No doubt. Salute, man.
Yo, so before we talk about your music, I'm curious, and I know it's been, as we all have long days, tiring days, frustrating days. How do you unwind? How does Substantial unwind and get renewed?
Man, hey, man, me and my wife are, like we love, whether I think the term is cinephile. Like we love a good movie, right? Like we're super movie buffs. A great show. You know what I mean? Like, I keep track of like who's writing what and who's directing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm fans of directors the way people are fans of actors. So, man, I find something great that I enjoy with the missus or whatever. We kick back. I mean, it's kind of like we're watching it and it's watching us because we're usually because I run a business with my wife. So, we'll be going through whatever business we got to handle and try and kind of watching, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's usually it, man. Like, you know, I'm just always as much as I make music, I'm not always rushing to listen to music. Because, you know, after a while it can, even when you're listening to it, it feels like work sometimes. You know, you're hearing things in the mix like, oh, I would have done that differently. You know what I mean? Or you know, I would kind of delivered that line like this. You know what I'm saying? So with movies though, man, like I watch movies the way people listen to hip hop. You know what I mean? So like, you know, looking at the imagery and realizing that, oh, that shot, they angled it like this because they're really saying, even though the character's currently not talking, that imagery represents this and they're pushing this. So I like listening to commentary and all, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm super into film, man. So yeah, so that's definitely the main thing. That and some good food, man. I love to cook too.
Yeah. Do you cook? Do you cook?
Oh yeah, man. I throw down, man. We was making pizza, not quite from scratch tonight. Like I ain't make the dough or anything like that. But yo, we, you know, we'll do it up. You know what I mean? Like do it up. You know? Yeah.
Has there been a movie recently that really captured you? Like, man, this is super dope.
Man, these are more mainstream things that I've seen recently that were really, really dope. But Shang-Chi, man, Shang-Chi was, you know, I'm a Marvel head. So, you know, like how, you know, it's, I think before it was out in the public, like it was really billed as like this martial arts flick, right? Marvel's first kung fu flick, so to speak. But yeah, man, it's fantasy. It's a tribute to like, you know, people who are fans of like Jackie Chan's stunt team and stuff, man, and choreographer, the brother that the choreographer of the film for their fights. He actually passed away right before the movie came out, but that dude's been working with Jackie for years. You know, and then they got Tony Leung in it. And if you know about them Hong Kong like gangster flicks from back in the day, them shootout joints, like come on, you know who Tony Leung is, and that dude, and then he was in the Grandmaster. So man, like it was just excellent. It was really, I've only seen 2 movies in the theater this year. One was that, and the other one was Demon Slayer, Mugen Train, the anime joint. Yeah, me and my daughter went to see that. But yo, hey, like Shang-Chi is like, that's what you go to the movies for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I love a drama like anyone else, and I love like all types of different genres of film. But like, yeah, Shang-Chi is what you go to see in the movie theater, and it was everything, dude. Comedy, drama, great storytelling, great acting, comedy, like every emotion. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched upon that because I was going to ask if you've seen that, because when I saw it, it immediately jumped into my top 5 Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's up there, man.
Wow,
it's a top tier Marvel flick. You know what I mean? Like I really like, you know, with Winter Soldier, you know, which is definitely one of the best joints, and like, of course, you know what I mean, like Black Panther. I'm black, so I'm biased, you know. Black Panther, you know, Shang-Chi. Listen, I mean, I'm looking forward to it coming on Disney Plus and then copping the Blu-ray and all of that, because I'm gonna watch that over and over again. You know what I mean?
Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, to me it is. Listen, you know. I'm one of those people, like I like what I like, you know, and I ain't a hating ass and there's gonna be like trying to yuck everybody else yum. I'm like, man, listen, you love it, you happy, good. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I like what I like, man, and yo,
I'm serious about top 5, man, because like Black Panther, the first Iron Man, Endgame, Winter Soldier, and Shang-Chi.
Wow.
People, man, listen, you know, people with Endgame, right? Besides it being like the top grossing flick of all time, who would have ever thought we would have got a 3-hour plus comic book movie and it be amazing? Like it not be trash, it not be okay. Like, dog, it ended up a 3-hour plus comic book film. ended up being the top grossing flick of all time.
Yeah,
like, you know, people can say what they want about Marvel, because, you know, you got the haters out there and stuff, like haters of the comic book genre. The fact of the matter is, yo, that shit is literally what's keeping the movies alive. The movie going experience, it's literally keeping it alive.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, all that
Plus
art.
you had grown men people crying at the very end too.
Right.
Yeah. Grown people crying at the very end.
Yeah, bro.
Came through.
Hey man, when Endgame, I watched Endgame, bro, and Cap got the and he had Mjolnir, he had the hammer. Hey dog, I looked at my daughter, I was like, I think I'm sweating. I think I'm sweating. Like, I feel like I'm in this shit. This is crazy. Yo, yeah, man. Dude, they doing it, man. Salute the Marvel studio,
man.
Yeah,
you know?
They put out some quality stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Anderson .Paak like song come on at the end of Shang-Chi, son. Like, we just like, dog, this is different. Can we acknowledge that this is different?
Yeah,
these are different times we're in, yo.
That's dope. Anderson .Paak's dope. So you mentioned that you have a business with your wife, which I find really fascinating. How's that? How's that go? Is it dope?
It's going great, man. We 2017 we started it. We're both visual artists. We went to art school together, Pratt Institute, Brooklyn in the house. Shout out. You know, we met at art school, and we've been together since we were like 19 years old. We're 42 now. And so we started a business 2017 because, quite frankly, we initially, when we were thinking about starting the business, it was going to be more focused on youth work. Right. But like we basically pivoted, we shifted gears because like a lot of the different people we knew in the industry, one of my homies, shout out to my big bro Kokai from DC, a DC hip hop legend. That brother, man, he's a Grammy nominated artist, and he invited me to this Grammy function. And while I'm there, I hear a brother talking about social media, and I'm trying not to embarrass him. He ain't really know what he was saying. And so I just, my educator, so I was real patient. And then I just kind of broke it down in a way he could understand what it was about. And like, man, I'm just talking to the one dude. And by the time I finished talking, it's like a group of 20 people standing around, just eating up the info. And then my brother Kokai just leaned over my shoulder and whispered my ear. He was like, yo, you need to be consulting. He's like, you really, really need to be helping. He's like, there's a lot of folks who can use your help. And so yeah, man, 2017 came around. My wife and I started having a conversation. We pivoted and shifted the focus of what the company was going to be about. And right after I came off tour from Europe, I came home, chopped it up with the wife, and I was like, yo, I think I got the plan. At least what I'm gonna do with my music to put us in a better position to do this thing with our business. And so, May 2017, we started the business. And by like July or late June, I think we was at Amazon headquarters doing a presentation. Like, yeah. So we just hit the ground running, man. And it's been really, really dope, man. We last year was it's crazy. During the pandemic, that was our most 2020 was our biggest year to date, like in terms of like profit and what we were able to do for our clients. That was the biggest win. Like, yeah, it's great to make money, but during a time that was really hard for a lot of people, man, like my wife and I was really, really able to make a difference in a lot of people's businesses and careers and stuff. So that was a blessing.
Yeah, I find that really interesting how like some businesses just did not do well at all, and some really thrived and are thriving during this COVID times.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I think why we did so well during that time is because we spent, and oh, by the way, the company's called Substantial Art and Music. I know I ain't say it, but basically before, when we were going around the country doing these workshops, because we did one in Hawaii at the Hawaii State Art Museum in February of 2020. We were in like Brooklyn doing a workshop. We were in Orlando doing a workshop. Different parts around the country, we were doing these workshops. And part of what we kept telling people was like, hey man, listen, touring's great, but you won't be able to tour forever, right? So what happens when everything stops? And you hope that you got some passive income coming in and you're doing some other things and you have some things in place. right? And you're not relying on one source of income. So you want to have like different revenue streams coming in, and we were talking about different ways for creatives to do that. And so this was pre-pandemic that we were saying all this stuff.
Oh wow.
So then the pandemic happens, and then like our email, our phone, everything's like people who were at our workshops, other people who knew people who were past clients, because we don't advertise our business. Everything's word of mouth, because we're only 2 people. So if we advertise our business and really kind of put out all of the successes, I think, we'd be beyond our capacity to really help people the way we want to help people. So, so we don't really kind of overly promote what we do. But yeah, the word of mouth is strong. So that's a blessing, man. Like, yeah,
that's great, man. That's great.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're like
man.
a Wu-Tang Clan on Dave Chappelle. Diversify your bonds.
Diversify your bonds. That's real, man. Like, I mean, like that song "Say Less" that I put out. I talk about how, there's the different ways I've pivoted. And one of the lines I say, I was like, the moment I said less, my streaming spiked, right? Like I'm known as a rapper, but then in 2017, after building with my man Funky D out and just really talking to him about how he was building passive income, because I noticed I didn't really see him do more than like 5 or 10 shows a year. And then I'm like, when I stayed with him, I'm like, bro, you doing all right? Like, how are you eating? What is going on? And he just gave me gems. Yeah. And so I came home and put this plan into action and really was stepping up my production, but not with the goal of shopping beats. I was really just like, I'm gonna make instrumental projects, because even though people appreciate the lyrics, I get hit up a lot like, you gonna drop an instrumental version of that project? And of course, like you feel away when you ain't do the beats. Like, it's like, what you trying to say? Whack? You just want I don't know how I feel about you asking that. So I was just like, I've been making beats since I was 15. I just don't put them out there like that. So so I started producing these instrumental joints. And I'm sorry if y'all hit a fire truck in the back, but anyway,
you're good.
So I started producing these instrumentals, putting out these different projects with the intent of not shopping the beats, but actually just really letting them live as instrumentals and letting people vibe out. Because from the lo-fi scene to like just these chill hop and all of that, that instrumental scene is huge now, and you make far more money, from streams of your instrumentals than you can from selling a beat once, right? So yeah, man, like once I started putting out these instrumentals, one of the beats I put out 2018, that track is at almost 10 million plays, man. So like,
Whoa.
So that was just one of the ways I diversified, my revenue and all of that,
Wow. Yeah, that is dope. I didn't think about it like that. That's super dope.
That is.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So this kind of off the wall question, but I heard there was an interview you did. I forget the name of the group. It was with young people. It was young people that interviewed you.
Yeah, man.
You want to talk about?
Yeah. Shout out to I forget the name of the program, but I think the kids are based out in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Yeah, it was. I watched a few interviews. That was my favorite one.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Dope, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. But I think it was that one you talked about. Kool Herc. And I was like, whoa, man! I wasn't expecting that. Did he DJ? Did I hear that right? He DJ'd your wedding?
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
What? So
that's crazy.
The story goes.
Wow.
So the story goes, originally, first shout out to my brother DP1, turntable annihilist, heavy hitters, all that good stuff. So the homie, and fellow member of the Plague. I make sure I shout out all the crews. Yeah, man, DP1, we were hollering at him, trying to get him to DJ the wedding. He's also Pumpkinhead's, rest in peace, my brother PH. He's PH's former DJ. And so, so we hollered at him first. He a fellow Capricorn. I'm like, come on, son. My wife and I are Capricorn. So we like, come on, son. Look at the Capricorn effect, come through, DJ this joint. And he was like, yeah, let me see it, blah, blah, blah. So I started talking paper with him. And he was just like, I feel bad even charging you, bro. And what I'm getting these days, like, I don't even want to do that to you and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dog, it's like that. And so he was kind of taking a minute to come around. So, and he was also DJing for Lauryn Hill and then Estelle at the time. He was just killing it.
Yeah.
So we were talking to my wife's former professor, shout out to Adrian Jones, who's also her mentor. and about our situation. And she was like, oh, I mean, I could talk to my boyfriend. Maybe he could DJ for y'all. Usually when people say that, you're like, But yo, her boyfriend, she was dating Kool Herc.
Wow.
So that's how we got linked. And
Wow.
and then the next thing you know, we get invited to the crib, and I'm chilling in their backyard, like having baked beans and, and chopping it up, walking by all these plaques that say like father of hip hop and all of that.
Wow.
And then and it was crazy, man. We just hit it off, yo. He was just so gracious, man. And of course, yo, like, man. You know, we like Adrian, man. She's just a great human being, period. But definitely that hooking us up with Herc and doing that for our wedding, that was just insane. And what's even funnier about the story is when he played, the last song he played at our wedding was "Golden" by Jill Scott. I mentioned this on the Jack and Jill mixtape I did, and so yo, he plays that joint. So at the time, that was like me and my wife shit. Like, we love that song. So we go up to Herc and we're like, yo, like, I don't know how you knew to play that last at our wedding, but that was like the perfect song to go out on because we loved it. And so, yo, a week later, when we're on our honeymoon, Dave Chappelle is filming that block party joint in Brooklyn, right? But we're in Hawaii. So had I known, like, we probably, I mean, yo, Hawaii was amazing. But yo, that was history. We kind of wish we were there too.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, Herc, when he pulled up to that function, because you see him in the movie, when he pulled up to the function, that function happened a block away from where I lived. So when Herc pulled up to the neighborhood, he was like, yo, this staying neighborhood. So he parked in front of our apartment, and then he calls me like, yo, where you at, man? I'm in your neighborhood right now. And I'm like, bruh, I'm in Hawaii. What's happening in my neighborhood? And he was like, yo, Dave Chappelle having this joint. He starts telling me everything that's happening. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
And Herc was like, dude, I can get you backstage. Yo, I just talked to Jill Scott and I told her how I played her song at y'all wedding. And like, I was like, young, is this my life? It's like I'm on the phone talking to Herc about a conversation he just had about Jill. Dude, it was, man. Yeah, the universe, B.
I know.
Wow. That's wild. Do you still keep up with Kool Herc to this day?
Yeah, we haven't talked in it's been a couple months since the last time we spoke, but like I'll hit him up. Sometimes I can't get him other time. Hey Stan, what's going? You know, and then he just calls. He's like an uncle, man. Like he just called just to see how my girls are doing. You know, he'd be like, man, how your wife, how the babies? And it's like we don't even talk music most times. It's just like when my wife and I got our house, he was like we was giving a call our mom and he called me first. You know what I'm saying? Well, man. Herc is good folk, man.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm curious to know, before we talk about some of your music, I am curious to know about, you mentioned you wanted to work with kids, and I believe that you have or currently do work with kids. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because, you know, we're very, very much pro kids around. We like the kids here at Boom Bap Chat.
For sure, man. For sure. So like over the years, I've kind of, I've stepped back in terms of how often I do the work, right? Like at one point it was like, 5-6 days a week. Sometimes at 3 different like educational facilities in a day. Like I teach at a middle school during the day, get off, go do a workshop at another middle school, and then drive like an hour from there and then go teach like young adults or whatever in the same day. And but these days I'm mainly working with Words Beats in Life, which is a really dope organization in DC that does hip hop education. And so I teach music business classes with them to young people, middle school to high school age, sometimes early 20s. And so, just getting them hip. Like I decided that I wasn't going to teach rap or like production anymore. And it's mainly because, the art itself is subjective, right? People like what they like. And I can teach you all of this technical stuff. But if I teach you all this technical stuff and I kind of look at it like going to a trade school, right? Like I want to teach you things that are going to that you can apply in a way that can create opportunities for you, help you build wealth, help you take care of yourself and other people. and I can make you a nice rapper, but how many of us know broke ass nice rappers?
Right.
So like, you know what I'm saying? So I found it more useful to basically start teaching the business. So like, you know, we do like vocabulary lists where I break down all the different terms in a contract and stuff. We actually read contracts and I break down like why a contract says like, you know, we own this in perpetuity throughout the universe. I was like, young, that sounds like something in a Star Wars flick. What the hell are we talking about, right?
Right.
And then I proceed to break that down, and they're like, yeah, but why universe? And I was like, aren't they trying out space travel right now? Aren't they talking about visiting other worlds? You don't think the way they've colonized other countries, if they can figure out how to create a sustainable life on another country, I mean, another planet, that's not going to happen. Yeah. It's like, that sounds like some movie stuff, but the idea of flying was foreign to people at one point in time.
Right.
And we fly all the time now. So it's one of those things. So you putting in the contracts throughout the universe. So if Mars happens, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They own the rights to your album on Mars, dog. So
galactic colonialism.
Galactic
colonialism.
I think
yeah, man. So like, yeah, it's so teaching them about those type of things. So I teach business classes now to the young people at like I said, Words Beats in Life in DC in the DC area. And then I also work with this school called the Omega School or Omega Studios, where I also teach music business classes like dynamic promotion techniques and then also digital distribution. So yeah, man, just try to give people tools, man. Like, you know, because at the end of the day, man, it's like, why wouldn't we want to be able to take care of ourselves and our families doing what we love most?
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead, Ioma. Yeah,
I just wanted to ask, have you ever worked with Asheru? With the gorilla, I'm sure you have.
That's my bro. We were just texting yesterday, man. Yo, shout out to him, man, because I joke all the time, call him the mayor, man. Like, if you working in arts education in DC, the chances that you didn't come across him or his programs are slim. Like, he's out here putting artists on for real and giving artists real, like, you know, like really making it so that folks can provide for them and theirs through the arts and stuff, man. So he definitely been putting on, but it's just super dope. Yeah, man, it's just salute to him. It's a lot of great people in this community in the DMV area.
Absolutely.
You know, just putting on and really building up the arts education scene, you know, with hip hop.
Yeah, that's great, because I feel like record labels and like they're going to always try to figure out how to take advantage. Not all record labels, but you know, people, it's just kind of human nature. It's going to happen. And like, I think about like De La Soul, when they were talking about their contract, like there was no stipulation for like streaming. So there's a whole thing about streaming. So now they're like, well, we're just going to cover the universe and put that in there. So it's great to have people like you, you know, fighting the good fight. Because you know the other side's not going to let up. They're going to try to find new ways to manipulate and take advantage, you know?
Yeah, and you know, like I can't even be mad at them, right? Like, you know, we're in a capitalistic country, right? And their particular skill set is based around the business and bringing people in. I mean, think about it. The jobs that nobody wants to do, that are some of the hardest jobs in world, these people get paid the least, right? So that is true throughout our society, no matter where you are in the world. So why is the music industry going to be any different, right? Like, the person doing the most work is oftentimes the one getting paid the least. And then the thing I got to explain to artists, like, because a lot of artists feel like, yo, they shouldn't be getting that. I was like, but dog, you do realize they got like 20 to 30 people working your record. So they got to pay those people,
right?
Like, yo, and so like, if they aren't getting a healthy share of what's made, like, how are they supposed to pay all of these people?
Right. Yeah.
Now, granted, how you're getting paid is also unfair, but you know, but labels aren't designed to build up artists. Really, they're designed to build. Their goal is to build their brand, right? And so, you know, they're supposed to be doing that. So, you know, if you're lucky enough to go into a situation and negotiate a situation that's way in your favor and a label's doing it, that label is kind of doing poor business for themselves. They're probably not great at their business,
right?
Yeah. So you got to understand how it works and adapt some of that mindset, so that way you can figure out how to do it on your own and build a team around you that you trust. So that way you can thrive, but you can do it without raping folks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about my favorite album of yours to date. But before that, I do want to, I know there's people tuning in on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. And if you're listening and you're a Substantial fan, what's your favorite Substantial album? So I see you out there, Marcus and Matthew's tuning in, and Chris. So yeah, and Slater's on Twitch. What's up, man? So yeah, and Tia. So if you have a favorite Substantial album, just post a comment below, let us know, and we'll let Substantial know that you like that album. So my favorite album of yours, and I want to ask you a little bit about this. The past is always present in the future. I think this is one of the better albums of the past decade.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. It's just done so well. When you were putting that album together, because it has a lot of different producers on it.
Yes.
How, like, what was your thinking? Like, did you know you were putting that album together? Did you have like the vision, the title first, and then you put it all? Like, did you have, like, what was the whole process of putting that vision together?
Yeah. So I remember exactly where I was when the title came to me. I was in the car with my wife. We were driving to New York. We were still in Maryland, about to hit that Delaware line, and I don't know what we were talking about, but that title just came to me, right? Like, it's not like I heard someone say that somewhere. We were just talking about something and talking a lot about legacy. We were having a conversation about legacy, and then just and you know, in relevance as well, right? Because, you know, in hip hop, as you start to, you know, hip hop is one of those things that people act as though you can age out of it, you know, and treat people like that. So, but I don't fear growing older, mainly because I know how much I've invested in the different people over the years, and how many different people careers I've helped, how many artists I've actually given their stage name, and done so many other things, right? So I understand that my legacy, like, will outlive me, right? Like these different things. So that title then came to me. It was like, the past is always present in the future. I was like, damn, that right there. It's like, that could be some right. So I say it to my wife. She was like, I was like, yep, that's it. Yeah. So then Algorithm, man, shout out to my man Algorithm, who now goes by Almost. He's one half of the Stuyvesant, really dope producer duo. And yo, like, you know, we've worked on stuff. He's done tracks on most of my albums, solo albums, and you know, we never did a project where it was just me, him and I, you know what I mean? Like, him doing all the beats. And I really feel like he's probably one of the most talented producers in the game, especially considering he just does this. He does beats in his free time. Like, you know what I mean? Out here people with whole careers that they're nowhere near his level. And so I really started talking him into. I was like, bro, I just want you to produce the whole thing. What's up, man? It was, and like, and I could hear it in his voice. He's like, ooh, way my schedule is. He's like a professional graphic designer, like literally getting flown around the country to talk about fonts. Like, he's like a real graphic designer, right?
Wow.
And so he's just like, yeah, I ain't got that type of time to do the whole record, but I can do a lot of. He's like, I'll do some joints for you as always, but I just don't think I can take on the whole record. So I was like, all right, bet. So then I talked to a couple homies about what my plan is. And then I talked to my man Tone Deaf. Shout out to Q&5 Music, my whole Q&5 fam in the Plague. And Tone was like, yo, you know, I think you should do that. I think you should do the format, of doing multiple EPs that lead up to the one album. He did something similar. Cunnilinguist did something similar. These are all like Q&5 fam, right? Like, they were doing that early on, like before a lot of people kind of made that a thing. And so, yeah, he was like, man, I think you get like, 4 different producers to do like a quarter of the record, right? And then just bring it all together. I was like, God damn, that's dope as shit. Right. And so yeah, he gave me the idea, he planted that seed. And so I circled back the algorithms, like, yo, I just want you to do like 4 or 5 joints. We do an EP. And he was like, bet. Then I was talking to Marcus D, my Bop Alloy partner. And he agreed. He was like, yo, cool. Let's say less. I'm down to do it. And I'm like, bet, that's 2. So then I get to I was talking to the homie Joe from the other guys, and he was like, yo, I'd definitely be down to do it. And then he was like, yo, but I really feel like you should holler at Kevin Nottingham. This is before all the drama popped off online. But he was like, yo, you should holler at Kevin about putting out the record. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I think with the format I got, I don't really need a label. I'm pretty sure at this point in time in my career, I don't really need a label to do the numbers that I think this will do.
Right.
But I mean, I'll have the conversation. And so, yeah, so I just talked to him about it. And literally when I described my plan to him, the first thing Kevin had said to me, he was like, so why do you need us? And I was like, well, I told Joe I didn't, but but it was really just about having a team. Yeah. Right. Like, I do a lot of one man army shit. And, I just really wanted to, man, I got a family, dude. So like, it's nice to be able to have people you trust to handle something while you rest and do other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it came together essentially. And then I just broke up the EPs as past, present, future. I talked to Odyssey. Odyssey gave me a few beats because we were fresh off of the Home is Where the Art Is. But instead of just making the last section all odd, I got a track from Ginsu Dean, and then I got some stuff from John Lane, who's super amazing, and also is Odyssey's drummer for Good Company. So yeah, man, it just came together, and and it was dope because I felt like it was the first solo album I put out where I feel like I had complete control from top to bottom. And so when people say that was my best record, I mean, that means a lot because that wasn't someone else's vision or how they thought I should do my record. That was top to bottom. That was me. You know what I mean? Like I mixed that whole thing myself. I mastered it myself. Wow. I had a photo shoot set up. The homie canceled on me an hour before we were supposed to shoot. And then I was like, and I said, looked at my wife. I was like, niggas act like I ain't go to art school, man. Dust my camera off. I was like, dog, I went to a performing arts high school and one of the top art schools for college in the country. I mean, the world, actually. So I was just like, yo, man, I'll do this shit myself, And my major was graphic design. So the cover, I was like, man, this ain't shit. It's just something to do, as my uncle would say. And and it just came together, man. And I'm super, super proud of that record. And and that record was I mean, Chuck had heard some of my stuff before. Chuck D had heard some of my stuff before, but he really, really started showing even more love when that record came out. Like that's just dope. Constantly bigging it up. And I was just, man, that was huge. You know?
That's dope. I gotta shout out my sister Tasia. She loves that album cover.
Oh, thank you.
She's only into hip hop because she knows I'm into it. So she'll like watch the show and read the books and stuff. But she saw the album cover I posted somewhere and she's like, yo, this is dope album cover. Well, she didn't say it like that, but
right.
Yeah, paraphrase.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, it's a nod to my very first album, To This Union, The Sun Was Born, where I was on the cover in the same position. And so when I told my wife what the concept was, I was like, yo, we put our hands on her shoulder and have her sitting just like me. And then I'll get that same the sun rising shot or whatever, but I'll do it from over PG because the first cover, I think that was Tokyo that they got for that image. But yeah, I designed both of those covers. So I was like, yo, I feel like it's like a full circle moment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. Well, Joe and Io Mas, as you think, if there's some songs or substantial albums you want to shout out, you can think about that. I'm gonna bring in some folks that are commenting. Tia says, Home is Where the Art Is my favorite. That's a dope one too. Shout out to Tia. And then I like this comment here. This is from Alex. Man, it's the past is always present in the future. Both Winter Breaks are masterpieces too. And don't get me started on Jack and Jill. So
man, that's loud.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. And Chris agrees with me. past is always present in the future. That's his favorite too. And
Man, I
I'll just,
appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I have to say, I don't know if it's your best album because I haven't like really sat down and like analyze like, you know, but it's my favorite, you know. And
I'll take it, man.
I like to point that out because people get funny about this one's the best. Like I didn't say it was the best. It's the one I like the most. You know, there's a difference.
Yeah, they trying to yuck your yum. You know what I'm saying? Let the man live, man.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's what he loved. That's what he loved.
Right? Yeah. I owe Mas and Joe November. Anything you want to chat?
Yeah. So for me, the album that speaks most to me is your soundtrack for fatherhood, man. That I mean, I'm a relatively new father. I got 3-year-old twins, one boy, one girl. And when I saw that project come out, thank you, man. When I saw that project come out a while ago, I peeped it, and just not only just the book is great, but the production that was done on the album itself is just, it blew me away. I was like, wow. And it was music. It wasn't just rap. It was actual music, and it spoke to all the different levels of being a father, being a husband, things that I had to deal with and overcome and work through and things like that. So that one spoke to me the most.
Wow, I'm honored, man. I'm glad that I made it for you, brother. You know what I mean? Yeah,
man. Did that come before the children's book or after?
No, it came after.
Right?
After. Yeah.
Oh, the children's book was based on the song, not the album. The song. Is that right?
So the book was based on one of the songs that's on the project, and then when we were marketing the book, because we really didn't know what to expect. I know a decent amount of my audience has children. You know what I mean? But a good amount of my audience is still fairly young. So, I didn't know how well the book would do. So I was like, man, let's have an album go with it. And since I became a father, like I knew I had a decent amount of songs that already talked about fatherhood.
Right.
And then I decided to craft 3 new tracks to go with it. And then I just made a compilation of all of these different songs where I either talked about being a father, or like talked about my relationship with my wife and us raising kids together. And then there's even a song about me talking to my father about him passing away and how much he's missed. You know what I mean? Like, not being able to meet his grandchildren and all of that. Yeah. So,
That's deep. How did the book come about? She Sees, the children's book.
My dope ass wife. Yeah, man. She we was in the whip. I think we were on our way to pick up our oldest daughter, and the song In My Daughter's Eyes, the second version of the song was playing, and she was just listening to it, and then she just hit me with this could be a book, right? And I was just like, I hadn't considered it, but then I started listening to it, and I was like, shit, it could be. And then she, we had our children's library for our kids is huge. So we got a couple of I forget, I can't remember. I think it's Celia Marley, Bob Marley's daughter. Like she takes his songs and turns them into children's books. And so my wife was just breaking it down to me like, yo, this isn't a new thing. Like people are already doing this. Right. And so, it's, I mean, you got an audience, and I know some of your audience got kids, and we got, family and peers who all got kids. And I think, if we do this could be something. And so, it just kind of started from there. And then we know a bunch of dope visual artists. So even though my wife and I both also do illustration, it's not the main thing we do. So we hired shout out to Luna Bunny, who's actually from the Midwest. She's from Ohio, or no, Detroit. I know she's Midwest. I don't know. I'm sorry. I probably butchered that. But anyway, she's from the Midwest. That's the safer answer. And she's amazingly talented, man. And she has the perfect style that when we thought of what we wanted for the book, we thought of her. And so we commissioned her to do it. And she killed it, man. She did such a great job. And she had never done anything like that before. Like she had never done a full book before. So So it was a first for everybody involved. And my wife edited the book, and you know, we were pitching it to different companies, and no one bit. And you know, I told my wife out the gate, I was like, yo, she's like, so what are we gonna do if nobody get it? I'm like, you think I give a shit if any of these companies? I was like, yo, I was like, man, I've been manufacturing and putting stuff together myself, most of my life. And I used to work for different companies in production, like printing books and putting all of this stuff together. So I was like, yo, I know what we need to do. We just got to quality check whatever we outsource, you know, and as long as it looks legit and it feels as official as anything else they hold, I was like, we know, like, man, you know, I'm a hustler, baby. I sell more. So, you know, so it just came out dope, man. I'm super proud of it. And, the stories, man, the stories that people. Oh my God. I'll say this as quick as I can. As I told you, I'm loquacious. I'll be going in, bro. The dopest moment, so many dope moments with that book. Like reading it to my daughter, my youngest daughter, when she goes to bed, that's, you know, that's just amazing. You know what I mean? Like, and her seeing herself in a book, right? Like what that means, her and her big sister seeing themselves. But one of the dopest moments was our first babysitter, our first daycare, the woman who runs it up in Baltimore. We sent her a copy of the book, and yo, she called us in tears and like had me broke up, bro. Like we gifted it to her so she could have it at her joint, but she was like, you know, like this is so beautiful. Because she, you know, she helped raise my oldest daughter, and then she was just talking about like she can't imagine having something like this when she was a kid, because this is a woman who's like in her early, either late 50s or early 60s. And so she's just talking about like, you know, what this is going to mean for her students, but like what this means to her now and how she wish she had something like this little kid. And just talking about how important it was and how proud she was, man. So, you know, when the community reach out like that, and it just kind of, you know, you hope it'll hit people, but moments like that, man, you know, priceless.
Man. That's
beautiful. I just love the fact that you did, because I was having this conversation with one of my students. She's basically saying that Black women often get overlooked. You know what I mean? Whether they're in the classroom, whether they're in the world, whether they're in media. And just the fact that you come out with a book where young people can see themselves. Because that's one of the biggest things that I hear a lot of young people say when they're in class. The curriculum is not for them. And when they're given a book to read within class, they don't see themselves in the book that they've been assigned to read. So the fact that you are fulfilling the need for young people just to see themselves in literature, I think that's going to increase. Well, it probably already is, but that increases opportunities for literacy. You know what I mean? For people for our young people to enjoy reading. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the reason why they don't like to read is because they don't see themselves in the books or materials that they've been assigned to read. So that's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you, man. And and then the other side of that coin, right? And I know, listen, you know, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I lose a lot of sleep, like caring what like folks who aren't us or are part of our community, like worrying about what they think. But I do recognize the fact that what has been also dope about the book has been like seeing support from people who aren't Black, right? Who got their little kids reading the book, who also aren't Black. But what it is like early in their life, right? They're seeing people who don't look like them, but have like the same experiences, the same fears, the same. And so like basically humanizing people who sometimes like other communities try to dehumanize all the time. So the importance of them having this as a point of reference as well, and killing some of the old ways and things that have hurt so many, you know what I mean? Like understanding that has power too. Like, and it's just, man. And just to address that thing you were saying about Black women, like for me, man, I got 5 sisters. My pops was dead, but by the time I was 10, and like, my mom my mom, just to address all the Black women in my life, like they've sacrificed so much of their lives and time to make me who I am. And there are plenty of men that poured into me too, and to help make me who I am. But the Black women in my life were the ones who always did what they could to get me to them. So they even had the opportunity to do it. So like, and I'm just eternally grateful for that. And then the Most High just blessing me with 2 daughters, you know what I mean? Like I'm a pour into them as much as I can, because I know what they're going to grow up and do for the men and the family around them, you know what I mean? Because that's the lineage, that's what they come from. So, like I expect nothing but greatness from them too,
No doubt.
That's so great, man. I want to bring in Ian Charles. Shout out to Ian. He says She Sees book and the DAD merch are beautiful. You hit the mark of love, representation of us, and positive components needed in our lives.
Wow.
So much love to Ian Charles.
Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's DAD, dad. That's dedicated and driven.
Yeah, that's dope. It's dope. And showing a little bit more love, I want to bring in Eric. Eric says, had to tune in from my brother Stan, one of my favorite artists and one of the coolest and inspirational people I know. Been a fan since 2012.
Nice.
Appreciate you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. So there's a few projects I want to ask you about before we have some fun with some albums. This joint, man, I feel like these projects you put out and other put out, it's like a blessing and a curse, man, because it's so good, and it's 4 songs. It's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the joint you did with Funky DL. We met in Tokyo.
Yeah, hey, salute to my brother DL, man.
Dude, these songs are phenomenal, man.
Oh,
phenomenal joints. Yeah, I know you like this one, Joe. You said it to me like, yo, this is dope. Yeah.
Hey, man, thank y'all, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. So, you met him a long time ago, though, right?
Yeah. We met in passing while we both were working with Nujabes. And so this was, oh man, like sometime in between, I want to say maybe 2006 or 7. Like it was a minute ago. We knew of each other for longer than that, but we were just kind of ships passing in the night. He was leaving Nujabes' studio and I was on my way in. And yeah, man. But then after Nujabes passed away, we started to come together for these tribute concerts in Japan. And we just started to kick it, man. And I really was just like, man, this is a good dude. He's a really, really good dude. And I want to say in 2015, that's probably when we had the most fun and really chopped it up more than any other time. And so fast forward 2017, I'm on tour in Europe, and I basically I had a little situation and I ended up having to crash on his couch for like a week. And so and we just, man, we got even closer during that time. And and I learned so much, and I never hesitate to sing that brother's praises, man. Like he is one of the most underrated people that we have in hip hop, and hands down one of the most talented, one of the hardest working brothers I've ever met. And just really, really gracious, man, and just like generous with his time and most importantly his knowledge. And so he's definitely one of the many big brothers I've been blessed with in this music. And so how it happened, he just hit me up. I was on this big playlist on Spotify, and then my song got pulled from the playlist after being on it for almost 3 years. And my numbers, of course, because this playlist had millions of followers. So once I got pulled from it, I mean, my numbers are still solid, but compared to what they were, it was like just watching it drop. And I was like, ooh, that paycheck will look different in a couple months. And so DL saw it, and he was like, "Fam, what happened, fam?" Like, he saw my numbers dropping, and he was like, "Yo, what's happening?" And I told him, and I was like, "Yo, I ain't tripping, man. That's the whole plan. And like you're having your different revenue streams. You know what I mean? Right. So that's started slipping, but I was doing crazy video game stuff at the time. I was like, yo, I'll be all right. I'm good. You know what I mean? Me and the babies, we still got a home. The wife good. She ain't leaving me. We all right. And he was like, no, fam, forget that, fam. Listen, we're gonna, and he's like, yo, we're gonna do a project, man. He's like, send me some acapellas, yo. Like, I'll remix a bunch of joints and we'll do this collab joint. We're gonna run these numbers up. I'm like, hey, y'all let us do it. So that is really how it happened, man. Like, he just hit me up, asked me for some acapellas, and 2 of the songs were songs that were released, and other songs were joints that were just on Patreon. And then he changed the tempo of them, sped them up a little bit, found what key they were in, chopped samples that were in the same key. Like, yo, he did work, man. And those remixes, most people don't like, if you hadn't heard those 2 original tracks, like, you wouldn't know, right? Like that they were remixes, and we didn't market them as remixes either, because we know that that's the easiest way to kill a project is promoted as a remix project. Remix projects usually don't perform as well. So, I never really kind of put that on tracks. Most of the time, I just will put 2.0, right? And so, yeah, dude, like, he turned it around so quick. I mean, I want to say we did that whole thing in like a month, and yeah, it came together super fast, man. And yeah, it's been love, yo.
So he did a 4-track joint with V Steez.
Fire,
and then,
too.
And then turned around and did another 4-track joint with V Steez.
Also fire.
Yes, I love those joints. And then he did this 4-track joint with you. Do you know there's something in his mind like with these 4-track little EP projects?
So
there's a rhyme or reason behind them. Do you know?
So this is not something he's told me, right? Okay. But this is something I realized, because if you look at what I've been doing since like about maybe like 2018, right? Since the middle of 2018, like after I dropped The Garden, if you really look at what I've been dropping, most of the stuff I've been dropping has been EPs.
Right.
Because it's a great way to look extremely productive. Like you're just throwing out a ridiculous amount of music, when in actuality, you're giving people about the same amount of music as if you put out like a full album. Because think about it, a 12-song album is technically 3 EPs, right? 3 4-song EPs. So, so I just started to move in that direction, partly because, we're in a single driven market with these playlists and stuff like that. Right. And so what a lot of folks, and this is what, get some free game. Like if you work on an album for like 2 years, and then you are one of these people who don't want to drop any singles, you're like, nah, man, I've been sitting on this for too long, son. I'm gonna just give them the whole record. You know what I mean? And then after the record drop, and if it don't pop the way you wanted to pop, then you start backtracking like, oh, I got to drop these singles. Oh, I got to have more videos. Oh, I got to do this. But nowadays, if you do that, once all of those songs has been released, you can't pitch. You only get to pitch one of those songs to editorial, right? Like editorial playlists like Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, all of these different companies. You only get to pitch one song. So that's why, like, I've been dropping more singles. And even if I drop like a 5-song EP, you'll see me drop like 3 songs from that EP. And people are like, what you doing? That's too much. I'm like, dog, I'm trying to make sure I can pitch as many of these songs to editorial as possible.
Gotcha.
And if I don't do that, if I drop the whole thing, then I can't pitch any of them.
Right.
And that's opportunity loss. So that can be the difference in between your song doing 1,000 streams in like a 5 to 6 month period, or even a year, and your song potentially doing 20,000 streams in the same amount of time. Just by pitch. Because even if you don't make it on the editorial, you'll make it into something called Release Radar on Spotify, which is a playlist that is based off algorithm for all of the people who follow you already. Right. So and that makes a difference in your numbers, right? So like, a lot of people don't like Spotify and they don't understand the game and how it works. But when you learn the game, the whole point of learning the game is so that way you can make it work in your favor.
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean it don't mean you gotta make generic music and make like shitty music. It just means you might need to change your format in terms of how you release it, because there are playlists for everything. that playlist with 3 million followers. Think about how many followers Rap Caviar have, right?
Right.
The likelihood me making the type of rap music I make, the likelihood I'll land on that playlist is non-existent, right? Like it's not gonna happen, right? But I can drop one of these instrumental joints and get one of my beats on the lo-fi playlist, on the lo-fi beats joint, and that playlist got over 3 million followers. That's like half the followers of the Rap Caviar joint.
Yeah.
And damn near do the same numbers as some of those mainstream and like or those big indie artists that's on that playlist. You know what I mean? And like when you look at lo-fi beats, most people don't know who half those people are.
Right.
You ain't heard of most of them. And they ain't paying a whole bunch of like they ain't paying for PR, they ain't doing all the radio promo shit. They ain't doing all that. They eating off streams. Some of these kids out here making tens of thousands of dollars a year or making like 6 figures a year strictly off streams, dog.
Wow.
Wow.
Making music on their phone.
Yo, straight up.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So like, and I mean, you know, and there's a lot of people who got a problem with it and they don't like it. And I'm just like, yo, you old curmudgeon ass nigga. Why you like, yo, listen, this is an opportunity because yo, you can do this without spending any paper.
Yeah.
That's what people are missing. Like you ain't gotta spend the money the way you used to, right? Like in order to make some real bread doing this. Like you pay for your distribution and then the rest of it is just learning how to pitch your music and Spotify. It's illegal for you to pay to get on a playlist. Most people don't even know that. You can pay someone to pitch you to tastemakers, but you can't pay to be on a playlist. So those people who do that, they get them fake streams, and then you know Spotify go do their little purge like they did at the top of the year, remove almost 1 million songs. You know, so like you ain't no point of cheating the game when they're giving you game, telling you how to take advantage of the system,
right?
And people just don't do it. They just don't do it. And the only different, I mean, yo, look, I got 18 million plus streams on Spotify alone since 2015, right? 15 over nearly 15 million of those streams has come since like have come since the middle of 2017 to now. So majority of my streams have come in the last few, and the only difference is I learned how that system worked.
Right.
I learned how that system worked, and I played the game.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy.
BDP, you must learn right now. That last 10 minutes has just been education.
Man, like all of us should be striving to be lifetime learners. And the game is forever evolving. Like the industry changes every time they drop a new iPhone, dog. There's something new happening in the music industry. They're making announcements on changes in the business literally every week. So, you know, you got to educate yourself. You got the way you know new albums. If you're a person who wants a career in this business or has a career in this business, the way you checking for new albums, you need to be checking news stories related to the music industry because that's directly connected to your wallet. You know, so and especially if you got babies, you know what I mean? So, you know, I just put a lot of stuff in place to make sure that if something happened to me, especially, man, because I lost a lot of homies in this business too, like in terms of like people passing away. So I see what happens after dudes are gone, you know what I mean? And their affairs ain't in order. So, you know, so I'm just making sure shit is straight. So if something happened to me tomorrow, my family good. Yeah. And they, you know, and so I'm just trying to make smart business decisions and stop being mad at people who don't even know who the fuck I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what's the point of being mad at them? They, you know, they had the money to make a tool and they're using that tool in a way that benefits them. So I can either learn how to use that tool or I can go buy some other tools. But if I ain't got the budget and I can't afford to build a tool that works well and helps me make money, then I got to learn what's out here and make it work.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we've been having conversations? I've been taking this arts-based class in the program that I'm in, and we've been having these conversations about how systems are put in place to basically capitalize off of our art, where artists have not been able to basically own their art and be able to empower their communities or themselves or their families through the art. So how, like what you were saying, like learning how to play the game, but have you ever thought about like how do we reimagine how we can create something for ourselves? But that way we don't have to go through Spotify. We don't have to go through, you know what I mean? Like that reimagining and using our creativity in ways where we don't have to rely on I don't want to say a capitalistic system, but systems that are in place that where we have to like kind of like assimilate in order to play their game instead of creating our own game. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
I'm hip. I definitely got you. And so yes to all of that. We can absolutely do that, but it's not so much that we're relying on them. Right? Again, it's about multiple revenue streams.
Yes.
They're just like, you know, like I said, our business did really well last year, right? We have at least 23 revenue streams. See what I'm saying? And Spotify is just one of them.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
It's just one. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and 1 month, like, you know, the streaming might be most of the money that come in. Might be. And then next month it might be the video game stuff. Next month it might be the book. But like I'm the dude that like anytime I make anything, I'm not thinking about the one way this is going to do well. You know, I think it was Dame Dash or somebody. Dame Dash has said to my man, and I forget who Dame Dash got it from, but he told my man, he was like, everything you come up with, anything you create, think of 7 different ways to monetize the one thing. Right. So I'm always thinking like, how many different ways can I flip that? So like, you know, yes, it's the things I'm creating also contribute to the community in a certain way, but I'm also like, okay, that's great. But also part of my family's part of this community. So I got to make sure my family's straight. And so like, I'll make this song and the song will come out one way. So like, for example, that song In My Daughter's Eyes, the original version was on the album from 2017. Then I remixed that song in 2019. So now there's it's two different versions of the one thing making money different ways, right? Then the book idea comes from my wife, and then it turns into another thing, right? The book could potentially turn into like an animation type thing. Maybe it gets picked up Netflix Kids. I'm gonna put it out in the universe.
Disney Plus, even
Disney Plus, right? And then now that's a potential other revenue stream. But at the end of the day, I own the IP. So even if I'm using these other systems, right? Like they're licensing from me. And there's no major corporation really over me. So they can't I can pull my stuff from them at any point in time. But I'm planning it in all of these different places. So if whatever pops, I'm like, cool. But I know that they're not the end all. Now, to address what you said about coming up with something different, this is like, so I remember when Jay-Z came with and he bought that company, and then they did Tidal. Right. And everybody was like, yo, this, that, and the third, Tidal, blah, blah, blah. Here's Tidal's problem. Right. Tidal's problem is, number one, they do not have a free service. Right. Everyone has to purchase. They have to be all in order to use it, which means that all of the money that artists could be making from that service, if they offer a free service along with the paid service, artists can't really capitalize on it. They pay 3 times more than Spotify. But the thing is, their audience is like maybe 20 times smaller than Spotify. Spotify has twice the paid subscribers that Apple Music has. And Tidal ain't nowhere near Apple Music. You see what I'm saying? But here's the flip side. The other problem with Tidal is Tidal also doesn't give people like me and y'all, they don't give us the tools to be able to leverage the platform in a way to make it work for us the way Spotify does. I gotta hire someone, I gotta pay someone $3,000 to $5,000 or like $1,000 or more to pitch to these companies. If I want to get to those people, so I got to go through these vibes in order to do that. I can pitch to Spotify directly. Now they're gonna give me 3 times less, but I ain't got to spend $5,000. Absolutely. See what I'm saying? And then here's the other wild shit about Tidal. Tidal got deals set up in some of these countries that people call third world countries, or some of these poor countries. Tidal got deals set in place where Tidal is already installed on the phones that people purchase in those countries, right? So it's a part of your plan already, which means that now think about this shit. And this is the real crazy part. Now they pay 3 times more than Spotify. Do you know what that money could do for people in that country? Let's say you are an artist in that country, and if Tidal got off their ass and created tools similar to Spotify, where I could pitch directly to them, there's people that could be buying their family homes, lifting their families out of poverty, doing all types of great shit just off of that income. Because that's literally what certain people are doing with Spotify, right? Off money they've made from Spotify. But again, Tidal's capitalizing on some of these poor countries, but then not putting tools in place where artists in some of these poor countries could capitalize on the audience from their region just by being able to pitch directly to their editorial. And on top of that, in order to even have the service, you got to pay. And I barely got any money. I either got to pay for a phone or I got to pay your service directly.
But they say you got to pay to play, right?
Right. So the fact of the matter is, in order to build our own, like, we need capital. We need a ridiculous amount of capital to build our own. But in the meantime, until we got the capital to build our own, what we can be doing is educating ourselves on how all of these different systems work and finding ways to play within these systems that exist, while at the same time reinvesting in ourselves, and then simultaneously lifting up the people around us to help them understand those systems. Because we get on this crab in the barrel shit where it ain't enough money out here for everybody.
Right.
Dog, they print money. The shit ain't even real.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even real. Most of the money you spend, you never even see.
Right.
So it's not a issue of if there's enough money out there, because even when they run out of money, they still print more. The US is in how much debt right now?
Exactly.
So we got to change our mindset and look at it way different. And man, but I feel you. I definitely feel as though we need to build our own stuff, but the amount of capital that is required to do that, and then the amount of capital that's required to market that stuff and get our people to buy in. That's why when Jay bought Tidal, he ain't go say, yo, I'm gonna put this thing in place so that way the smaller artists can capitalize. What he did was he got all of his rich friends who were artists to all be the face of it. And the reason why I brought up Jay and Tidal is because of this, to bring it all home. At first, he was like, nah, none of my music on Spotify. If you want my music, you gotta come to Tidal. When I first heard that, I was like, yo, this is the dumbest shit ever. Like, I know why you're doing it. I know why you're doing it, right? You're trying to get everybody come on this service. But dog, like, you care about money. Everyone knows you care about money. And at some point in time, Jay gonna be looking at how much money he's losing not being on Spotify. And eventually, all of his shit ended up right back on Spotify. Dog, I called that shit the moment they made the announcement. I was like, when you realize how much money he's losing by not being over there, he's gonna be back over there.
Yeah.
And that might not been the reason. I don't know them personally, but I knew it was gonna end up back over there because I'm like, yo, they're the largest. Dude, they passed YouTube in terms of like where people stream music. So I mean, listen, if I got a track on there making 40 grand, how much is Jay making off of one track?
Oh yeah, you already know.
Right.
You already know.
And then think about how deep his catalog is.
Exactly.
So now how much money are we talking?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? 40 grand is what some people make. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money lost.
That's a lot of bread.
Going back to Hawaiian Sophie.
Dude, come on, man. Come on, man. So yeah. Anyway.
That's dope. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks for dropping all those gems on us too, man. Appreciate that.
Listen, man.
Yeah, educate. That's what educators do, bro.
Yep. Before I throw it over to Joe, November, for a question, I did want to get back to Iomasa's question. Ian Charles again chimed in with something cool. He said a prime example, answering your question, Iomas. DJ Muggs and Flea Lord now own their own vinyl pressing machine. So that's dope. So so people go through them now. So that's pretty cool. So I didn't know that. So thanks, Ian, for hipping us to that. Joe November, I know you wanted to ask about something.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about your latest project, the Animal Arithmetic. Can you talk about
that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, hey man. So shout out to Kenya Danino, aka Katie Fox, an amazing illustrator and really dope human being as well, who reached out to me back in 2015 or late 2014, somewhere around there. And was a fan of my music and wanted to work on some stuff. And, we've been talking about how we could collab for years. And so she's been brainstorming this entire time on this manga that she's now releasing called Animal Arithmetic. And when she told me about it and then sent me some of the material to check out, I was blown away by it. And her art is just amazing. So then she hit me like less than 2 years ago. She first started mentioning the whole idea of releasing an album to go with it. And she was asking if I'd be willing to do the album. And I was super honored to even do that. That's been a childhood dream of mine since, I want to say like my high school years of being able to produce music for anime. This was before I saw any rap music. This is before Samurai Champloo. Shout out to Shingo too, Nujabes, Fat John, Tucci, and all the Force of Nature, all the people who worked on that. This is before we even seen anything like that. I was dreaming about doing something like that when I was like 15, 16 years old. And so then seeing Nujabes do it, I remember hitting them up. It was like, yo, where were these beats when we was working on our album, yo? It's like, yeah, this shit is fine. And so now fast forward, seeing different things that have happened over the years, and now getting the opportunity to do this. As I mentioned before, I've been doing a lot of video game work, but and have had music and film, but haven't had a chance to do something connected to manga or anime officially outside of that tribute joint that we did for Cowboy Bebop. Because initially that was just some fan stuff, but then Funimation stamped it, which was crazy. And then they reached out to Sunrise, who originally put out Cowboy Bebop, and then they stamped it. And then they got Yoko Kanno herself to come on there with the seatbelts and get on the song with us. And I was like, yo, what world am I living in? Yeah, just insane. So seeing how, like I really feel like, man, we put things in the universe, right? Like our words have power, that energy, we put it out there and it turns into something. So I just look back to my 15, 16-year-old self, like saying that was something I wanted to do. And now looking at this young sister, man, who's not, she just turned, I think, 28 years old Sunday when we dropped that campaign. And so seeing this young sister give an opportunity like that to me, 42-year-old brother who's been dreaming about doing some shit like this since I was 15, 16.
Wow.
And so that's just a beautiful thing, man. And and then, again, what I was saying about like the sacrifices and that Black women make, and the way they been lifting us up, and the way they lifted me up my whole life. That opportunity was given to me by a young Black woman. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, that's a dope thing, man. And so so I'm super excited for people to hear it. It's a mostly instrumental project, but there is a track on there where I rhyme. And then the homie IQ, I brought him in to do like the opening track, so he's rapping on the beginning. And then it's mostly instrumentals with live instrumentation from the homie Mason Lieberman, talented composer. He actually just did some music on Star Wars Visions, like doing solo cello on one of the episodes.
I'm peeping that right now.
Yeah, man, it's fire, dude. That first episode of Star Wars Visions is flames. They set the bar high out the gate. Yes, but
watching in Japanese too.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and watch it again, man. But yeah, we got him on the project. We got Marcus D throwing some keys on the project. Nice. Homie Malcolm Jackson doing live percussion. Like I think he played vibraphone or vibes on one of the tracks. And yeah, dude, it's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Exciting. And they got the voiceover actors, voices like throughout the instrumental project. Yeah. So.
And when is that coming out?
So right now, the Kickstarter campaign is going on right now. to raise money for the manga and also the vinyl. And the goal was to raise $8,000. We raised, last I checked, I think we're on our way to like, I think we're over or close to 24 grand right now. We raised the 8,000 and over 8,000 in an hour, which was insane.
Wow.
But yeah, so the campaign ends in about 3.5 weeks. So after that happens, like we'll start like releasing some of the music. The vinyl for it should be out next year. We're super excited about the vinyl as well because we're doing something different. We found this company called Green Vinyl Records, which does like they do a safer alternative for vinyl. They don't use PVC, 60% less energy and stuff. And the records actually last longer too. And they don't release as many chemicals into the air as well when you play them. A lot of people don't know that. Like playing a record can change the air quality of a room. Like, yeah, I did a lot of research, bro, and I was just like, ooh. And then meanwhile, all these records behind me, I'm like, oh, shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we did all this research, man, and I found out about them, and it was all because a fan hit me some years ago when I was pressing up a project, and he was like, man, they're bad for the planet, bro. And I'm like, come on, man, bro.
Chill.
I was bought like a couple hundred of these, man. What can I do at this point?
Right.
But I made sure that, you know, when they told me that, I just looked into it and found out a lot of information that the brother was trying to give me was real. And I found a couple other artists who stopped pressing vinyl because of that. And then it hit me. I was like, yo, every time we find out something's bad for us, people figure out an alternative.
Right.
And sure enough, I found that company and found out a bunch of countries in Europe granted money to this company to do the research and develop something. And then they developed this. And so we're giving them a shot. And, you know, it's exciting because record sales are up like super high right now, like a ridiculous percentage right now. And so because more people are pressing vinyl, that's more pollution, obviously, but that also means longer turnaround times because everyone's using the same companies.
Right.
But the Green Vinyl Records company, a lot of people aren't hip to yet. So their turnaround time is like 3 times, it's like 3 times less the time. That means we get our records quicker. And then hopefully the record does really well and gets a lot of attention because we'll get to spread the message and let people know that this is a better alternative, you know?
Yeah, you might get a few people buying it just because of that. They like to support that green vinyl. So
yeah, man,
that's dope.
Yeah. Even though the record itself, we made it orange, but it's still green vinyl.
It's orange green vinyl. Right. If you have not supported that Kickstarter, you can't click that link at the bottom that you see, but you can at least Google it. You can see the Animal Arithmetic there, Beast of Burden. So find that Kickstarter and support them. It's not just supporting; it's buying something. So you're not just supporting, but you're buying. So
you're getting something out of it. And and if you pay attention to how this vinyl stuff work nowadays, man, people get in on these campaigns early. Sometimes buy multiple copies. And then when the projects sell out, you're going to see it on Discogs, on eBay for like $85, $150.
Dude, they do it with CDs too, man. I was talking to this one guy had like 5 copies of the CD. And I asked, why did you buy 5 copies? Because he wasn't going to sell them. He's like, I'm keeping them for my kids. And I was like, okay, it seems like a funny thing to invest money in CDs because the artist can just reprint a CD, but whatever, you know, it's all good.
Right.
But yeah, it's out there. They be reselling CDs, vinyl, all that stuff.
Yeah. So. Listen, man, I got a big bag of CDs in the front of the crib right now that I'm about to take the record tapes and traders and like and literally because they buying these joints up because I mean the last time I was in that spot it was packed in there like people still copping. So you know, I'm sitting on my Danger Mouse joint what was it the Great album, you know what I mean? I've had a copy of that. I almost sold that joint on eBay for like $150, man, and then they shut me down an hour before the campaign ended. I was like, oh.
I thought I had that joint too. I've thought about selling it a few times.
Yeah, joint mint condition, B. I'm like, hey man, you know, I could hold it, but listen, I'm trying to declutter the crib a bit.
Really.
So about to get rid of a good amount of stuff I just been sitting on. Some of these comics gonna go in a minute. It's hard to part ways with it, but I got free up some space, brothers.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, speaking of sitting on some stuff, I got some album covers here.
Yes,
I want to show you before you have to go tonight. We like to do this challenge called One Word, where I will show you an album cover, and you give us the first word that pops into your mind to describe this album. All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. We're gonna go through a few of them. First one, going out to the West Coast. This is Death Certificate by Ice Cube.
My God. Ugh. One word. Oh man, I have so many favorite songs from that joint. Yo, I keep thinking of lines. So the first word that came to mind when you showed that joint was Vaseline.
Yes.
And if you know the album, you know what song.
Yes.
There's a bunch of lines that came to mind. Yo, Summer Vacation on that
Summer
album,
Vacation.
One of the greatest stories, man.
I love that joint. The dudes in St. Louis still want their cornerback. When that
I was
after that line, I love that part. I'm like,
used to go on them black St. Louis niggas with their cornerback.
Yes. All right.
Song is crazy.
That's the joint. Right there. All right. The Ecstatic by formerly Mos Def.
Hey man, that's one of his most underrated joints. So the word I go with is underrated. Hey, Pistola, that song. One of most dopest verses ever. If you are to fall in love, then where should you stand to begin with? And and when the fall is done, how bad should you plan to get injured? And he's saying that vert, like he's just talking, but it's flames. It's flames. That album's crazy.
That album is dope. All right, I'm gonna shout out Profound for this next one. This is Electric Circus by Common.
Hey,
shout out Profound.
So I'll do the one word, but I gotta say something about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
That I will say I'm gonna say Future. And the reason why I say that is because the only reason why people said a lot of what they said about that album is because it came out at the wrong time. If Common dropped that album today, people would be like, yo, this is a really dope Common album. And this is like really progressive and blah, blah, blah. But I really felt like it came out at the time where people weren't used to hearing hip hop that sounded like that. But now you look around and there's a lot of hip hop that basically took a lot of the sound that came from that record. And now it's a whole thing. But I mean, yo, that's an album that had a posse cut on the joint that literally had one rapper on it, and that was Common, and he didn't rap, he did a poem. But then he had Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Bilal, that singer, what's it, Omar, I think his name is. Who else was on it? CeeLo, and somebody else, another vocalist I'm forgetting. All of them were on the same track, and they weren't singing a hook. They all had these beautiful verses. Like that's how the record closed. Like, dog, it was that record was really ahead of its time, and people really shit on that record. But but musically, that record was amazing. Like just from a music standpoint, it was an amazing record. You know,
I stand by that shit. Like Jimi Hendrix Studio or something like that.
Yeah, yep, Electric Lady.
Yeah. All right, next one, Street's Disciple by Nas.
Hey, dog, come on, son. Come on, yo. Hey, Say Cool story. Say Cool.
Man,
Say Cool. That's my one word.
Joint.
Say Cool.
Say Cool, yes.
Yo, listen, man. Yo, like there's stuff on that album. My wife has been doing film classes, right? Like she wants to make films. And she actually directed and edited the We Met in Tokyo documentary. So shout out to my amazing wife. But yo, she literally wants to make a film out of one of the stories from that album. That's one of Nas's album that people don't talk about. But like I'd argue that was one of the dopest double albums that ever came out.
I agree.
In hip hop that people don't talk about. You know what I mean?
I agree. I love that album. All right, just a few more here. This is Layers by Royce the 5'9".
My one word will be streak. And the reason why streak is because I feel like Royce the 5'9" has one of the best release streaks in the latter part of his career than I would argue anyone. I feel like he's just been batting 1,000 for like the latter part of his career. Like I would say some of these albums are some of his best work, and this dude's a top tier rapper. So
yeah.
And I feel like Layers, for me, that was when I listened to Layers, I was like, yo, there's no turning back. Yo, this dude is, I don't know where he going, but I'm here for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, salute the Royce.
All right, this is the 1978ers.
Hey,
People
man,
today.
hey, yo, that album. Hey, man, first of all, salute to my brothers, YU and Slim Cat.
Yeah, man.
These two dudes, they are DMV hip hop staples. Yo, YU is definitely one of my favorite rappers, if not like probably I say top 3 like rappers from the DMV. And I just say, man, he bodied most of the favorite rappers out here in the world. People like, oh, this guy's pretty good. I'm like, hey, you heard YU? YU, hey man, YU is dope. He got one of them voices, man. Like his voice is crazy. Flow wise, he can do whatever. Motherfucker can sing. He make dope ass beats.
Like, he makes dope beats.
You know how dope you gotta be to make do a whole album of beats for a dude like YU who already make dope ass beats.
Yeah.
And if you like, and so shout out to Slim Cat, because that album is extremely well produced, man, and got some dope ass visuals for it too. So Mellow Music. I really feel like Mellow Music dropped the ball by not pushing that record and getting more stuff out from them, because you know, I mean, that joint just feel like it's, no disrespect to Tribe Called Quest, but I think that record sounds like what we wanted the new Tribe album to sound like.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, last one. Speaking of YU, I had to save one of the most underrated albums, in my opinion, ever. This is The Urn by YU.
Hey, bro. Again, man. Salute to my brother YU, man. My man Mike Willingham Jr. That dude, man. Like, you listen to that record. I remember being like, if I'm not mistaken, we toured together. He was pushing that record, and I was pushing Home Is Where the Art Is. And People of the World Today hadn't came out yet, but he was already giving little previews of that joint too. And just watching him perform, man, like I knew we would change, like depending on the city. Some nights he was the headliner, other nights I was the headliner. And man, I really enjoyed watching that dude do his thing. And when he would do songs from that record, dude, like, I mean, it was, this is just fire, yo. I still listen to them joints.
I do too. I love that album. I love that album. Well, listen, this is a hip hop show. So the last thing we do substantial on the hip hop show is give shout outs. It's only right.
Yeah.
So we'll give some shout outs, and then we'll turn it over to you to give the final shout outs of the night. And then we'll be good to go, man. So sound good?
Sound like a plan.
All right. Joe November, man. Who you want to shout out tonight on the Boom Bap chat?
Just everybody out in the DC area. I'm not from there. I'm from Kentucky, but my mom went to Howard. So I know some people out there. So shout out to all the folks that are out there.
Right on, man. Thank you, Joe. Iomas Murad.
Man, shout out my people in Chicago, my family in the D. Shout out Culture Proud 45, Taiwan and them. My brother, What's the Irony in Detroit. Shout out my Boom Bap brothers. You know what I'm saying? And man, just shout out Substantial, man, for coming through, man. Thank you for blessing us, man, with your presence, man. It's been an honor, bro. Like, I ain't seen we this is like the first time I think we seen each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So respect, man. Much love and respect. Thank you, man, for being here, for sure.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, it's definitely great building with you, brother.
No doubt.
Thank you, Io. I want to shout out real quick, my man Eric and Mark, Toussaint, everyone, Tia, Eric, Mark, Marcus, everyone that tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, Ian, Charles. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Of course, Big Stowe and Bo Brown and Profound on location tonight. And everyone who's checked out, we got this magazine we put out, the Boom Bap Mag. And people have been checking it out, looking at it. Really, really appreciate y'all checking that out, boombackmag.com. So appreciate y'all checking that out. Also, I want to shout out A1 of Don't Sleep Records and the whole Don't Sleep Records crew. All this month, we've been shouting them out, talking about their albums because they got an incredible discography. So we've been talking about a lot of those albums. So next week, we have A1 and as many Don't Sleep Records members as we can possibly fit in here.
Nice.
Are going to come through and we're going to celebrate them and have a good time with Don't Sleep Records. So shout out to them. And obviously, of course, last but not least, want to shout out Substantial. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your dope music. Thank you for dropping those gems on us. But most importantly, thank you for, the empowerment work you do and empowering other people. So it's not just you benefiting from breathing on this planet, but you're helping all those people, around you that you're inspiring and you're teaching. So really appreciate that, man. And with that, I'll let you get the final shout outs of the night.
Hey, man. First of all, thank you, brother. Shout out to y'all for having me. I appreciate the love, man. Definitely, this was a really dope ending to a damn rough day. So I appreciate y'all for the good vibes, man, and lifting me up like this. So thanks for having me. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody, all the viewers, all the folks in the chat. I appreciate all the kind words, man, and y'all being here. Shout out to Tia. I know she from the DMV and stuff, man. Salute to her. That's a prowess to testament, if I'm not mistaken. So salute the queen. Yo, man, shout out to my family. Definitely got to shout out my whole family, man. Like, we haven't it's been this last month plus has been rough. A lot of folks going through a lot of different things. I ain't gonna put all the family business out there like that, but man, I just appreciate everybody just for holding each other up and staying strong, like regardless to what we all been going through. And yeah, man, shout out to the homie A1. It's super dope that he gonna be on here, man. He lived not that far from me, man. So we get up from time to time, man. Salute to that brother, great human being, man. And yeah, man, salute to all of the homies, all the different crews, man, I've repped over the years. Q and 5, salute to the brothers over at Mellow Music, salute to Hot Out Productions, rest in peace, Nuja Best, rest in peace, Mona Risick, formerly known also as also known as DJ Dextream. Shout out to Hypnot Records, the other guys and all the homies over there. Shout out to just all man, so many goddamn people. Shout out to shout out to all of the folks who I spent a lot of time doing this work with. I'm doing this music with, man. Malcolm Jackson, Mason Lieberman, Katie Fox, my brother Funky DL, man, Shingo too, and man, I'll be here all night, bro. I know we gotta get to our family, so I'm gonna wrap it there. Anybody I didn't shout out, I love you. Stop playing.
There you go. Thank you, Substantial. On that note, we say
peace.
Peace.